Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Thursday, November 12, 2020. BBC report. Ethiopia's Tigray crisis. Civilians massacred, says Amnesty International. Witnesses blamed forces loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF) for Monday's killings, but Amnesty says it cannot confirm this. Fighting between government forces and the TPLF broke out last week. Getting information is hard, with phone lines and the internet down, and neither side has commented on Amnesty's report. This would be the first large-scale killing of civilians in the conflict.
Al Jazeera report. At least 74 migrants dead in devastating shipwreck off Libya. At least 74 migrants have died in a shipwreck off the Libyan coast of Homs, the United Nations International Organization for Migration (IOM) said on Thursday. According to the IOM, there were more than 120 people on board the Dingy when the devastating incident took place. The Libyan Coast Guard and fishermen rescued 47 people, according to the IOM. This is at least the eighth shipwreck that occurred in the central Mediterranean since October 1.
CNN report. Why Trump is filing so many flimsy lawsuits in battleground states. The Trump campaign is moving from state to state to overturn President-elect Joe Biden's win, in a series of increasingly wild legal maneuvers without credible claims that face astronomical odds and carry little precedent. Lawsuits in Pennsylvania, Michigan and Arizona now are attempting to advance a smattering of accusations and legal theories, some based upon vague and unsupported allegations of fraud or complaints of minor ballot processing access, as a way to prevent state officials from certifying the popular vote results, which currently all favor Biden.
Fox report. London man rams car into police station over $13,000 COVID fine. A London motorist reportedly upset over being fined for breaking lockdown rules to stem the spread of the coronavirus crashed his car into a police station and set it on fire Wednesday. The London Metropolitan Police Station in Edmonton was evacuated following the incident, which occurred just before 7 p.m. local time. A 45-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of arson and other offences. He was not identified and no officers or members of the public were injured.
Al Jazeera report. Ghana's former president Jerry Rawlings dies aged 73. Ghana's former leader Jerry Rawlings, who seized power twice in military coups but went on to bring democratic rule to the West African country, died on Thursday at the age of 73, the country's president said. President Nana Akufo-Addo said Rawlings died on Thursday morning at the Corley BU Teaching Hospital in the capital, Accra, where he had been receiving treatment after a short illness. A great tree has fallen, and Ghana is poorer for this loss, the president said.
Al Jazeera report. Deutsche Bank says tax remote workers to rebuild COVID economy. The COVID-19 crisis is worsening inequality around the world as people fortunate enough to work remotely continue to earn a paycheck while millions of others lose their livelihoods or risk their health in jobs that are deemed essential, but pay low wages. Now, one of the world's biggest banks has proposed a fix to level the playing field and create a more inclusive economy as nations rebuild from the pandemic. Tax remote workers.
Fox report. Sculpture restoration work draws laughs, memories in Spain. Madrid, AP. Restoration work on a sculpture in northern Spain has resurrected memories of a restored Christ fresco in another Spanish city 8 years ago that drew ridicule as well as tourists. The latest incident concerns a relief sculpture on the exterior of an ornate office building in the city of Palencia. What was once the bust of a smiling woman now looks more like the head of a cartoon character.
Fox report. Trump urged by over 1,000 advocates to stop death sentence for inmate who cut baby out of pregnant woman. More than 1,000 advocates, including current and former prosecutors organized through Cornell Law School, are asking President Trump to spare the life of the only woman currently on death row in the U.S., who was convicted of strangling a pregnant woman and cutting out the baby to raise as her own. U.S. Attorney General William Barr directed the Federal Bureau of Prisons on October 16 to schedule the execution of 52-year-old Lisa Montgomery, who has been on death row since her conviction 13 years ago.
Deutsche Welle report. Paris Peace Forum to raise more than $500 million for global coronavirus vaccine access. An international peace summit in Paris is expected to raise more than €425 million, $500 million, towards ensuring a fair distribution of coronavirus vaccines, organizers said Thursday. as World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned of vaccine nationalism, prolonging the pandemic. Equitable worldwide access to COVID-19 medication was the key objective at the Paris Peace Forum.
BBC report. China Muslims, Volkswagen says, no forced labor, at Xinjiang plant. But in an interview with the BBC in Beijing, the company's CEO in China, Stefan Wollenstein, defended Volkswagen's presence in Xinjiang's capital, Urumqi, where it runs a factory with 600 workers, producing up to 20,000 vehicles a year. What happened in the Nazi times was something that happened in our factories where we had forced labor, people producing Volkswagen cars, he said. This certainly is an unacceptable situation. Therefore, we are making sure that none of our production sites have forced labor, and this is something that we specifically checked in Urumqi, and I can assure you, we do not have forced labor.
Deutsche Welle report. Contentious Stonehenge tunnel gets UK government approval. The British government approved a $2.2 billion €1.86 billion tunnel under Stonehenge on Thursday, overruling the recommendations of planning officials. The Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, administered a development consent order which will allow the conversion of the part of the nearby segment of the into a two-lane underground tunnel. Currently, the short stretch around Stonehenge is a rare single-lane segment on the A303, which starts suddenly in a hilly area with poor visibility. It's often the site of tailbacks and accidents.
BBC report. Barcelona plans major increase in green zones. The work is part of a 10-year plan focusing on the central example district of the Catalan capital. Mayor Ada Colau has announced new squares will be created linked by green axes, providing more than 33 hectares for pedestrian use. The plans build on the city's creation of environmental superblocks. Starting with 2 districts in 2016, superblocks cut through traffic, restricting car use to residents, emergency services and deliveries.
CNN report. Did 2020 prove that liberals can't win? In the wake of the 2020 election, and disappointing seat losses in the House, congressional Democrats are in the midst of an intensifying battle between its moderate and liberal wings. Moderates like Rep. Abigail Spanberger, Virginia, are suggesting that liberals in safe Democratic seats are endangering the party's majority by touting signals like defund the police and pushing for legislation like the Green New Deal.
CNN report. British nurse charged with murder of 8 babies appears in court. A British nurse has appeared in court charged with 8 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder following an investigation into a number of baby deaths at a hospital in Cheshire, northwestern England. Lucy Letby, 30, was charged after being rearrested on Tuesday as part of an investigation into the Countess of Chester Hospital. She had previously been arrested twice by police, in 2018 and 2019, in connection with the investigation, PA Media news agency reported.
Deutsche Welle report. European Commission presents strategy on LGBT+ rights. The European Commission on Thursday unveiled its strategy aimed at improving the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, intersex and queer people. The 5-year plan includes legislative and financial support for LGBT+ people. It aims to add hate crimes towards the LGBT+ community to the EU crimes list, as well as institute measures to support parental rights for rainbow families.
CNN report. A California man saved 10-year-old girl from drowning. Now the girl and her mother are raising money to help pay for the hero's dream wedding. The Whiting family was enjoying their last day of vacation on a sunny beach in Monterey, California, when 10-year-old Haley Whiting got caught in a rip current. Haley's mom, Samantha Whiting, was sitting on the shore when she heard her daughter crying for help. Samantha Whiting sprinted into the water to try and grab her daughter but underestimated the strength of the current. Soon the waves were swallowing them both.
Fox report. Ex-NYPD detective. Rise in crime in Minneapolis is self-inflicted. Minneapolis is experiencing self-inflicted wounds as it pertains to the rise in crime. Retired New York Police Department Detective Pat Brosnan told America's Newsroom on Thursday as the city's police department reportedly grapples with short staffing. The city council, they were harboring a fantasy and masquerading, actually, as law enforcement experts and felt that they would be able to somehow defund the police, minimize the police involvement in deterring crime, and somehow this wouldn't happen. This violent uptick in gun violence and associated crimes, Brosnan said.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.